The rain hadn't stopped for hours. Daniel Harper adjusted his jacket as he locked the auto repair shop. Being a single dad meant long days and longer nights. His 7-year-old daughter, Lily, was waiting at home with a neighbor. He was halfway to his truck when he saw her. She was sitting on the curb across the street, soaked, hugging a small backpack to her chest. Not homeless, not careless, just lost. Daniel hesitated. He wasn't the type to interfere. Life had already taught him that helping people sometimes brought trouble. But then she looked up. Their eyes met, and in that moment he saw something familiar. Fear. The kind he had seen in the mirror years ago after his wife passed away. He crossed the street slowly. "Are you okay?" he asked gently. She swallowed hard. Her voice trembled. "I have nowhere else to go." Her name was Maya, 24, recently fired, kicked out by relatives who said she was too much responsibility. Daniel didn't ask too many questions. He had learned that when someone is drowning, you don't ask why they fell in, you throw a rope. But he was also a father, careful, protective. He couldn't just invite a stranger home. So he asked one quiet question. "If I help you tonight, what happens tomorrow?" Maya froze. No one had asked her that. Everyone else had only told her what she couldn't do. She whispered, "Tomorrow, I try again." That answer changed everything. Daniel brought her home cautiously. He explained everything to Lily in simple words. "This is Maya. She needs help tonight." Lily studied her for a long moment. Then she did something Daniel didn't expect. She hugged her. "You can share my soup," Lily said. Maya broke down crying at the dinner table. It wasn't the food. It was the feeling of being seen, of not being invisible anymore. Maya didn't sleep much that night. The next morning, she woke up before Daniel and cleaned the kitchen. She asked for job listings. She offered to babysit Lily while Daniel worked. She wasn't looking for rescue. She was looking for a chance. Weeks passed, then months. Maya found work at a bookstore downtown. She started saving money, slowly rebuilding. But something had changed. She wasn't alone anymore, and Daniel wasn't either. One evening, after Lily had gone to bed, Maya stood by the doorway with her packed suitcase. "I found a small apartment," she said softly. "I didn't want to overstay." Daniel nodded. He was proud of her, but the house suddenly felt too quiet already. He looked at her and asked another quiet question. "Do you want to leave? Or do you just think you should?" Maya's eyes filled with tears. "For the first time in my life," she whispered, "I don't feel like a burden here." Daniel stepped closer. "Then don't leave because of fear." Silence filled the space between them. Not awkward. Safe.it happened on an ordinary Tuesday. Daniel was fixing a customer's truck when he noticed a black sedan parked across the street. Stayed there too long, watching. That evening, Maya's face turned pale when she saw it. "I know that car," she whispered. Daniel's chest tightened. "Who is it?" She hesitated, then finally told him the truth. Her ex-fiancé, the man who had once promised her forever until she lost her job. The same man who told her she was too unstable to build a future with. He had money, influence, confidence, and now he was back. The confrontation. The next day he showed up at the shop. Well-dressed, smug, controlled. "You've been hard to find," he said to Maya, ignoring Daniel completely. "You embarrassed me when you disappeared." Daniel stepped forward calmly. "She didn't disappear," he said evenly. "She survived." The man laughed. "You think you saved her?" Daniel didn't raise his voice. "I didn't save her," he replied. "She saved herself." For a moment, the man had no response. Then he tried one last weapon. "You belong with someone stable. Someone successful. Maya's hands trembled. Old fears resurfaced. Old doubts. She looked at Daniel. He didn't speak. He didn't fight for her. He just asked one quiet question. Who do you feel safe with? That was it. No pressure. No clamming. No control. Just truth. Her choice. Maya turned toward her past, then toward her future. When I had nothing, she said steadily, he gave me a reason to try again. She looked at Daniel. You don't make me feel small. The black sedan drove away that day, and it never came back. That night, sitting on the porch while Lily slept inside, Maya spoke softly. I used to think love was about being chosen by someone powerful. Daniel listened. Now I know it's about being respected when you're powerless. Daniel smiled faintly. You were never powerless. She reached for his hand. For the first time, I believed that. And in that quiet neighborhood, under simple porch lights, something stronger than romance was built. Not rescue, not dependency, but partnership. Because sometimes, the biggest transformation doesn't come from dramatic speeches. It comes from one quiet question, asked at the right moment. It wasn't fancy. No five-star restaurant.
No orchestra.
No grand speech prepared in front of a mirror. Just a quiet backyard. String lights Daniel had clumsily hung himself. A slightly burnt chocolate cake Lily insisted on helping bake. Maya thought it was just a small celebration. 1 year since she walked into their lives on a rainy night. She didn't know Daniel had been carrying a small velvet box in his jacket pocket all evening. His hands were shaking, not because he was unsure, but because this mattered.
Lili's surprise.
Halfway through dessert, Lily suddenly stood up on her chair. Wait, don't move, she announced dramatically. Daniel blinked. Lily, what are you? But she ran inside and came back holding a folded piece of paper. She handed it to Maya. It was a drawing. 3 stick figures holding hands. Underneath, in messy handwriting, can we stay like this forever? Maya's eyes filled instantly. Daniel felt his throat tighten. This wasn't part of the plan. But somehow, it was better. Daniel stood slowly. Maya, he began, voice unsteady. I didn't save you, and you didn't fix me. He looked at Lily. But together we built something. He pulled out the small box. No dramatic kneeling yet. Just honesty. The night you said you had nowhere else to go, I asked you what happens tomorrow. She nodded, tears falling freely now. You said you'd try again. He swallowed. I want every tomorrow with you. Not because you need a place to stay. He dropped to one knee. But because this is home when you're here. Silence. The soft hum of string lights. The sound of Lily holding her breath. Maya, will you marry me? Her answer. Maya didn't answer right away. She stepped closer, knelt down in front of him, and placed her forehead gently against his. You were the first person who ever asked me what I wanted, she whispered. Yes. Lily screamed before Daniel could even react. Yes, yes. She said yes. Daniel slipped the ring onto her finger with trembling hands. It wasn't huge. It wasn't flashy. But it fit perfectly. The morning was calm.
No dramatic storms. No chaos.
Just soft sunlight pouring through the small church windows. Maya stood in front of the mirror, fingers gently touching the simple white dress she never imagined she'd wear. Not because she didn't believe in love, but because she never believed she'd be chosen. And kept. Behind the church doors, Daniel adjusted his tie for the 10th time. His hands were steady when fixing engines. Not today. Today they trembled. The walk down the aisle. The music began softly. Everyone stood. Daniel looked up, and there she was. Not the girl sitting in the rain with nowhere to go. Not the woman running from her past, but someone strong, someone certain. Maya didn't rush. She walked slowly, eyes locked on his. Halfway down the aisle, Lily stepped forward, holding a small bouquet almost too big for her hands. She looked back at Maya and whispered loudly, "Don't worry. Daddy cries a lot." The guests laughed. Daniel wiped his eyes anyway. The vows. When it was Daniel's turn, he didn't pull out a paper. He spoke from memory. "The night we met," he said softly, "you thought you had nowhere else to go." Maya's eyes filled. "But you walked into my life and gave us somewhere to grow." He took her hands. "I promise I will never make you feel like a burden. I promise I will always ask what you need. And I promise, no matter what happens, you will never face it alone again." Silence filled the room. Then it was Maya's turn. She inhaled shakily. "I used to believe love had to be earned," she said. "Like I had to prove I was worth staying for." She squeezed his hands. "You stayed, even when I didn't believe in myself." A tear slid down her cheek. "I promise to choose this family every single day, not because I need saving, but because this is where I'm strongest." The moment, the officiant smiled. "By the power vested in me." Lily whispered loudly again, "Finally." The entire church laughed. "You may kiss your bride." Daniel didn't rush it. He rested his forehead against hers first, just like the night she said yes. Then he kissed her. Not dramatic, not desperate, certain. Outside, as confetti floated through the air, Lily grabbed both their hands. "So," she said proudly, "does this mean we're officially stuck together forever?" Daniel looked at Maya. Maya looked at Lily. And for the first time in her life, Maya answered without fear. "Yes," she said, "forever." Because the girl who once had nowhere else to go had finally arrived. "Home. If you want next, I can give you..."